What's up, guys? We're back again with another athlete interview conversation. Here, you guys know who he is, or at least most of you would. This is Nathan Bosech. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correct.
Pretty well, yeah.
Perfect, man. So we're gonna have a quick conversation today. We're gonna go through a couple of things, and yeah, luckily Nathan has graced us with his presence today. This is an athlete I've wanted to talk to for a little while now. Found out about him, I think, the early part of this year. He's a really high-level athlete, really passionate about the sport. He shares a lot of really good content, I would say. So, yeah, I'm going to let him introduce himself, and you guys can learn a little bit about, the planche, his skills, and how to get to the top level. But yeah, Nathan, would you like to introduce yourself to the people, man?
Well, first of all, thank you a lot for inviting me, and hi to everyone. Right. I hope you'll enjoy this video. I'll try to reply to the question you've asked Jake on his Instagram channel. For a quick introduction, my name is Nathan Bosech. I'm 22-year-old. I've been training calisthenics for the past 7 years. I don't have specialty, but I do prefer planche to front lever, but I do practice both. I'm a static athlete only. I do not do dynamics. I do not do street lifting. I do only static. And what else can I say? I'm French. I'm living in Bulgaria, but if you want more information, you can check out my YouTube channel. Maybe it will be in the comment or in the description below. I've done a Q&A and I'll reply to a lot of questions like that. But to sum up, I'm a Tenix athlete also. I'm sponsored by Tenix. And that's about it, I think.
Perfect, man. So yeah, really good introduction, man. And I think one of the common questions already was like, do you have a background before you started doing street workout or calisthenics? Did you do any sports before? I mean, I'll have some clips about your current level, but yeah, did you do any sports in the past?
Yeah, so I've experimented a lot. I was a very active kid, let's say. So my parents, to not have me on their back, they put me to sport very early on. So I've done judo, I've done boxing, I've done 3 years of gymnastics, but it did not impact my progression in calisthenics because I started calisthenics at 16 and I was doing gymnastics from 7 to 10. So, but yeah, I had the basic of push-up, dips, pull-ups, abs routine and stuff like that when I was a kid. I've done a lot of running also. What did I do? Yeah, and basic body weight training like push-up, pull-up and stuff like that. So no major sport that I was really involved in a club and stuff, but I tried a lot of different activities for sure, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, very similar with me. So I did a lot of sport when I was younger. And just when I was growing up, I'd do like little ab routines, like using the sofa, put my feet under the sofa, do crunches, just stuff like that as like when you're kind of growing up. And then I kind of did a little bit of sport as well. Didn't do gymnastics though. I kind of wish I did because I feel like some of the stuff would help, yeah.
It was nothing special. It was baby gym. It was like
okay.
There is 10 other kids like you, and you're doing like Superman planks, and you're doing banana planks and stuff like that. But I do have a very strong memory of a dude doing rings back then in the little gym, and maybe it influenced me to do the ring that I'm doing right now. Maybe it have an impact on me. Maybe not. I don't know. But I do remember that, and it's strange because I don't have much memory from when I was 7. But I see this very muscular dude taking the rings, and he was doing like not really impressive stuff. He was doing mainly swings, not a lot of strength. But I remember how massive the dude was, and yeah, maybe it have a little impact on my career. Who knows?
Yeah, probably. But yeah, interesting that I guess you say the gymnastics maybe didn't help so much, but maybe more the visual, seeing someone do it. Maybe that has, but. Yeah, because you're crazy on the rings. I'll put some stuff on screen. But we'll move on to one of the first questions that people are asking. Is one of the most common was, how hard should people train planche? Do you have, to failure? Should they be saving a little bit in the tank? What's, in your opinion, how hard should people train planche?
Well, for me, I have 3 main pillars in order to progress in calisthenics, 3 main statements, rules to follow. For me, you need to be as specific as possible, as intense as possible, and to do it as often as possible. You need to be able to train as often as you possibly can, being the most specific possible and being the most intense possible. So if your body allows you to train every day, I will train every day. Now, most people are not able to do so because it's a sport that put a lot of stress on your shoulder, joints, etc., etc. So to reply to the question and not go too much on the sides, do not train to failure every training. It is irrelevant. If you can train as often as you can 70 to 85% of your maximum intensity, go for it. It's cool. Now, every training, 100, 110% of intensity, I do not recommend it, especially when you're a beginner. It's not relevant. What you want is to work on your proprioception, on your spatial awareness. You want to work on your specific muscle, shoulder, and shoulder strength mostly. But if you work planche, you need to spam planche in order to get very good at planche. Is going to failure every set relevant? I would not say so. Even to my level in my training, maybe there is 1 or 2 sets that I do failure, and I use very specific intensification methods like rest pose or drop set and stuff like that. But it's rare. I'm not going to do that every session. It's if I feel that I'm able to do so, let's say.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. I was kind of expecting a little bit more for you to go a little bit towards like, yeah, go to failure sometimes. But, you know, I actually really agree with the stuff that you say. For me, in my opinion, I always say that, yeah, you want to train as frequently as possible, but be able to recover at the same time. So there's that balance. I say it's like a yin and yang, where you want that intensity, and obviously it needs to be specific as well. You can't be doing, you know, some random exercise. You want it to be specific to the planche if you want to get better at the planche as frequently as possible, but you need to be able to kind of reproduce that. So you need to be able to recover. If you cannot only do one really hard session and you go to failure, and then the rest of the week you're burnt out, then you're not really getting
it's not good.
Frequent work. Yeah. So
What you need to create,
really agree.
Very important, is specific volume. You need to build that volume up of bad form, of ugly planche and stuff, but you need to work this volume. Now, to work the volume, there is multiple methods. There is, as I said, rest pose, drop set and stuff like that. But going to failure every set is not going to get you anywhere, for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, drop sets. Yeah, that is one of my favorite methods for, you know, kind of increasing that strength.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Okay. Now, next question. So we're kind of going to go on a little bit because a really big part of, I guess, your training and your vlogs that I've seen is this concept of activation. Some people may not know what that is, or, you know, really what's involved with that, or how that may help them. Do you want to give a little definition of what is activation, or whatever you might call it, if that's not what you call it or think about it as? Yeah, a little definition for the people that might not know.
Okay, I'll try to answer to that the best way possible. So I call it activation. Levan call it grease the groove. Another guy will call it something else. I did not find a real definition of grease the groove. Some person on YouTube will say it that, some other person will say it that. Why do I do a morning training very, very intense? Like I'm sometimes more intense in the morning than for my night training. It's to add overall volume in my week. If I'm able to train 2 times a day as often as possible, it's better than training 1 time a day as often as possible, right? Between my session in the morning and my session in the afternoon, there is maybe 6-7 hours. So I have the time to reset my body. I do some stretching, I do some massage and stuff. I mainly like rest. So I do it for volume purposes, to increase my volume in my day, in my week, in my session, in my months. But I also do it in order to feel better for my main session at night. Right, to wake up my nervous system in a way that I will be able to use it better at night, right? My body will already be ready. And that's why if you're watching my vlogs, you see me already enter my training in planche or in front lever directly. It's rare that I'm going to use elastic band directly. The first thing I do in my session, as soon as I come in the gym, will be to take my bars and to do a planche press directly. I won't lose my time doing something else, right? And this is mainly due to the fact that I am training multiple times a day. Maybe if I was not training that much in the morning or in my day in general, it would be harder for me to directly enter my training in planche, right? But my goal is to be the more efficient possible and to be the most specific possible. And for that, I think it is pretty relevant to try to enter your training in planche directly. Now, when you achieve a certain level, if you don't have a straddle planche, I'm not telling you to do a straddle planche directly without warming up specifically, right? But I'm not advising you to waste your time doing stuff like that and stuff like that for 20 minutes, right? Or the thing with the elastic like that. I do not recommend you to do that. There is better things to do than that. Maybe doing a little session of lean in the morning if you have the time will be a better way for your body to understand what you're asking him to do than wasting your time before your session doing a shoulder rotation and stuff like that. So
Okay.
to conclude, it is for optimization, feeling better for my training at night. It is for volume purposes. And because I can do it also. So why not?
Okay, man. Thank you so much. You answered already a lot of questions that I did have, that I'm sure a lot of other people did have as well. So let's go through things one by one. Okay. So the first thing is, you said that the activation, or what some other people call grease the groove or whatever, they're all pretty much the similar thing. And the whole reason for it is to increase your overall volume for the week.
Yeah.
So it is going back to that first principle that we kind of talked about, that you want to train, specifically to the highest intensity as frequently as possible. So it's kind of going back to that. So you're still following that sort of principle. So that makes great sense. The next thing is that, you kind of said that, you kind of do it in the morning to kind of prepare you for the evening session. So would you kind of take that as it's sort of your warm up, or do you see it differently? It's still your training. It's not a warm up. It's still training. It's just a different training session, or how do you see it?
For me, it is a training session because I don't have a specific skill that I want to do in the morning. So I don't have to focus. I can just push hard or pull very hard. That's why in the morning I'm putting ankle weights, or I'm putting elastic band to counter my weight, to make everything more difficult, because I am not going to aim a very specific skill like reverse cross, or I'm not going to have to focus, right? I can just put ultra hard in order to increase my volume and to push myself to do something. I'm going to failure in the morning because, first of all, since I do it maybe maximum 1 hour after I wake up, my nervous system is not able to be used to the maximum, right? So even if I push myself to the maximum, it's not going to impact my nervous system too much, because I won't be able to use it too much, because I just woke up, and like your body start to get going after maybe 3, 4, 5 hours of being awake, right? So I would consider it as a real training, because I am pushing myself in my head. It is 110%, right? Even though in my body that's not what it is, in my head I'm pushing myself very, very hard. So I'm doing maxes. I'm doing maybe 2 sets of each. 2 sets of pull, 2 sets of push, with weights, bad form, maximum bad form, as much volume as I can. And maybe I got lost a little in the answer. I hope I answered a little.
Yeah,
So
no, it's
I consider it as a training.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, no problem. If you want to ramble on a little bit, don't worry, man. This is your
Man,
time to
I need
ramble,
to contain
man.
myself, because otherwise it's going to last so long, and that's not what we want, right?
Yeah, I do the same. If I'm making a YouTube video, I have to cut so much because I want to talk. But yeah, if you want to, it's totally fine. But okay, so it's a proper training session, and you're pushing to the max. But because your body's kind of waking up, it's not actually like really your max. Okay, that all makes sense. My next question is, okay, should most people be doing this? Because I know, like, I think Levan, maybe some other people also do grease the groove, but they still do warm ups as well. So yeah, 2 questions there. Should people be doing activation or grease the groove? Do you feel like most people should do that? And I know other athletes still, they do their warm-ups and stuff. So should people still, try and do a certain warm-up before their session?
Okay, so first of all, let's define who are we talking about. Are we talking about an athlete that is aiming for the highest level in calisthenics? Or are we talking about a guy that just wants to train a little and maybe for 2-second platform planche just to feel the movement, etc., etc.? If you're the person A and your goal is to be the strongest athlete ever, I think that you will have to experiment this at one point in your journey. Maybe it will not work for you. Maybe you will always need to warm up 20 minutes before doing anything. Maybe you won't even be able to do the activation in the morning, but you need to experiment it, because if you don't try it, you will never know if you're able to do it or not. Now, if you are a more casual calisthenics athlete and you are just doing it for fun with friends, etc., etc., I don't think that this hardcore, because it is hardcore to traumatize your body like that before even eating. I do it before eating my activation. I eat after the activation, and it is ultra hardcore. I am more tired after that than after a real training. So I don't think it is necessary for random. It's not a mean word, but like a just a casual athlete to go to this extent. Now, we all have a different body. My body allows me to do so. Levan's body does not allow him to do so because he have hyperextension on his elbow joints, and it's kind of painful for him to hop in a planche directly. Now I have the opposite of him, so my joints protect my my muscles very much. I'm not able to hyperextend. I'm not able even to lock out my arms. So I am truly able to hop in planche. Like right now, I could do 10 seconds to press directly without thinking about it, because my body is genetically allowing me to do so, and I'm also conditioned since 1 year or two now to do that when I want. Like I said, for me, very simple principle. I explained it already many times in my vlog. People that are watching them will remember that. But if you are, let's say, warming up 20 to 30 minutes before every workout, and you're training maybe 6 times, I'm not going to do the calculation, but 30 minutes times 6 times 30, right? At the end of the month, you wasted, 10 hours of doing nothing, right? While me, if I enter directly in the gym and I directly do a planche, or if my activation is relevant, it's a planche based or front lever based or something else, the time I will spend warming up will be specific to my goal, right? So yeah, that's about it. I would say, to conclude, if you are aiming for the top 0.001% of athletes, you'll have to go through that in order to build your volume up. If you're a more casual athlete, maybe it's not going to be needed because it is very high level stuff and very complicated stuff.
Okay, great answer, man. Okay, so what I'm getting is, a sense of experimentation. Try it out and see if it's for you, especially if you're taking it more serious. You know you want to get to that top level, and you know you want to get to that high level of performance. Try it out. I'm getting a sense of, try it and see, and then build up the volume in the activation. Maybe just do maybe 1 or 2 sets or something and build up to it, because you've built up to it, you said, in a year, and then you've been able to reduce your warm-up as well because of that. So yeah, sounds like that's pretty good. Also sounds like there's an aspect of genetics. You said about the extension and lockout. Sure. So, maybe again, the people have to experiment and see, okay, does this work for me or does it not?
Exactly. And that's I'm sorry to cut you, but I cannot stress it enough.
Go.
Everyone have a specific genetic that will allow him to do certain stuff and to not do certain stuff. Do not do stuff because you're seeing me or Levan do it. You can experiment it with low volume and low intensity just to see how you feel in it. And who knows, if you try it, maybe you'll be like, wow, that's completely revolutionary. It's insane. Like it's changing my training forever. Or, no, I did not feel it that much. Maybe it's not my thing. But what it shares that you will have to aim for more volume in your session, more volume in your week. You will have to aim for less time wasted in warm-up. You will have to optimize your training at one point. That's for sure. If you're aiming for high level, you'll have to optimize what you're doing. Obligatory.
Okay. And the next part of that, okay, so the genetics play a factor, so people have to kind of try that out and see. Yeah, well, one aspect I kind of say is like everyone gets to planche in a different way. Everyone gets to Maltese in a slightly different way. No one does the exact same thing, and not the exact same thing works for every person. So there's many different ways to get to the same goal.
Made very
in this
simple.
scenario.
I have a very simple example. Let's say Maltese, when you have small arms, you'll be able to use more your shoulders because the leverage is smaller and you're able to use smaller muscles. Now, if you have longer arms, you won't be able to focus this shoulder too much, so you'll be prone to use more your chest. Same for SAT. If you have shorter arms, you'll be able to use more your lats. And if you have longer arms, it's going to be harder to activate more your lats. You'll have to activate more like smaller muscles. So depending on your genetic, the movement will be different, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So the genetics play a big role. The next part I want to mention is a little bit of pushback because of the warm-up. Okay, you kind of mentioned that, if someone's warming up several times, they're wasting that time. In my eyes, I kind of see it as they're kind of prepping their body, or sort of, it's like the warm-up for me is, okay, I get to increase my performance because there's certain exercises I do that if I do them, my planche is way, way better. So it's totally worth that time doing it because my volume, I can do more volume or I can do, better quality in that session because of the maybe not 20 minutes warm up or something like that, but the 5 to 10, it's totally worth wasting that time. I don't see it as wasting. I see it as I get to increase my performance for the next half an hour or sorry, maybe like hour and a half is what like I usually train. So yeah, that's how I kind of see it. So yeah, what do you think about that?
So now I'm speaking about my personal way of seeing things, right? But I do think that doing warm-ups that are not really specific to your goals will only make you lose time. Instead of, like I said, doing this type of stuff with elastic band, why don't you do, I don't know, a very heavy elastic band assisted planche, for example, to warm up specifically the body? Why don't you do a lean planche, for example? I think, yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't been too specific in order to win time, but I'm going to enter more in details.
Yeah, go for it.
Your warm up needs to be specific about two factors. First of all, your goal in the session. Second of all, how you feel. When you wake up in the morning, you have different feelings every day. Sometimes you can wake up, your neck will hurt. Sometimes you will wake up, your left bicep will hurt. Sometimes you will wake up, maybe your back will hurt. So your warm-up need to focus on where you feel these normal pain, right? In order to tame them for your training, right? So very specific for how you feel in your day. Very specific also for what is your goal in your training. Let's say my training is going to be about Van Gelder. I'll have to warm up very specifically on my chest opening, on my lats, on something that will help me a lot for the movement. Now, let's say my goal will be to work on SAT. The warm up will be completely different, right? It's not going to be the same at all. It's not the same muscle. It's not the same trajectories. Maybe we're going to speak about trajectory later, but it have nothing to do, right? So for me, your warm-up should be almost different every training depending on your goal. If your goal is always to do the same thing because you want to perfect one motion, one combo that you visualize and stuff, your warm-up will be kind of the same. Now, if you have different goals for every training, you'll have to adapt stuff. I am not for routines of warm-up, right? Even though if you watch my vlogs, I'm almost doing the same warm-up because I have phases of goals, right? And when I have a goal, it lasts maybe for 1 month. And then once I perfect it, I can switch to something else. But you can see, like, if you go maybe 3 months back on my vlog, and now the warm-up have evolved. It changed because the goals have changed. Before I was more doing volume on parallettes. Now I'm more doing volume on rings. So it have to be different, right? And also with the fact that you're gaining awareness of the sport and you're gaining strength and stuff, your warm-up cannot be the same than when you started. It cannot be the same. If you're progressing in your skills, you'll have to progress in your warm-up. It's logic to me, right? You cannot expect a guy that is training for 7 years to have the same warm-up than a guy that have been training for 2 months, right? It cannot be. Your body have adapt to what you're asking him to do, so you can allow him to do less preparation for your training. Now, I do agree that very specific movement help you in order to perform better your movement. For example, I like to refer it as pancakes. For example, when I'm going to do tries of very difficult motions, let's say Van Gelder, the first Van Gelder will be pretty bad. The second Van Gelder, and it will hurt also. The second Van Gelder will be way better, and the third Van Gelder will be the best one of the session in general. It's like pancake. The first pancake will stick to the pan, the second one a bit better, and the third one you can flip it and etc. You can do whatever you want. It's the same. So my tries beginning of session are part of my warm-up, right? And even the tries with elastic band are part of my warm-up. Now, will I waste my time of doing like shoulder rotation like that? Not really, because there is a huge psychological aspect in warm-up. Now, stop me if I'm going in all directions, right? But there is a huge aspect of psychology and psyche. If you're doing a motion that will hurt you in your warm-up, it will influence you for the rest of your training, okay? And that's not what you want. I know that I have more risk of feeling pain if I do shoulder rotation like that than if I do a handstand, for example. The handstand is going to warm up my shoulder as much or even better, and I will feel great about my body and about myself. While if I start to do like movement that will stretch me and hurt me and stuff, my brain is going, even inconsciently, I'll be like, the level of pain of today is a bit too high to do high level stuff. And so maybe less warm up will put less pain in your body and will make you feel. Now it's hyper management, okay? It's a very high level stuff. But I think it have a role also.
Okay, man. Yeah, bro. I just want to say I love this conversation, man. I love getting these different kind of opinions, these different views. Yeah, I just love this so much because, yeah, like I can see like exactly kind of what you're thinking when you're going through your warm up. Yeah, like what you said about when you start as a beginner, your warm up is going to be completely different to when you're 7 years down the line. And these are things like people never really say. But it's quite important that the warm up actually does change. And now that I think about it, yeah, like my warm up has been completely different than because like you don't want to still start with just push up if now you're at the level where you can do like Maltese presses. Like for me as well, I've condensed my warm up to where okay, now I start with not close to my max, but let's say like 40% of my max is that's kind of where I'm starting in my warm up. So as you get stronger, your warm up is kind of progressing with you. And also, again, what you said about specificity as well, yeah, I also agree. But yeah, carry on, man.
If I can add one last thing that I think you should avoid as a beginner, is the ritualization. I don't know if it's a word, but to create rituals around your warm up and in general before your training and stuff. It's good to have a nice routine, but you should not be dependent on your rituals, right? Because very simple. If you have a routine of warm up, right, but you cannot train in your specific gym, or you have to train home, or you have to train in outside or whatever, and you're not able to do this very specific ritual thing that your brain made up, right? You're going to feel bad for your training, and you won't be able to perform as much as you want, right? You need to adapt to wherever you are going, and you need to adapt to how you feel, and you need to adapt to what's your goal for your sessions. But yeah, rituals is very, very bad. It's very important to detach yourself from this. So it's very important to detach yourself from routines in general, because it's going to become a ritual at one point. And if you're not able to do your ritual, in your brain is going to break your session in half, right? It's going to, damn, but I did not do that. I can't train or whatever, even though it's not true. If you enter this vicious circle and start having pre-made sessions like that, if anything goes wrong in the session, it's over. And yeah, I do not recommend you to do that.
Yeah. This goes back to the mentality of warm-ups. Yeah, warm-ups are very much mental as well as the increase in the performance. For me, it's mainly performance. But also I get to listen to my music. I get to focus in on, okay, what exactly am I doing this session? But yeah, I've heard, even with me in the past, and I've seen it with other athletes where they need to do, the 1, 2, 3 in that order, 1, 2, 3. If it's 1, 3, 2, then it's done. The session, it's done. And you don't want to get into that. I will say
I'm not a fan of that. No.
Yeah. I will say maybe rituals, maybe not inherently bad. It depends what it is. And if it's like it's a necessity, once it becomes a necessity, that's when I'll say, it's not a good thing. Like even for me, I was getting used to training at the gym. So when I train at home, maybe the performance was not so good just because it felt different, different space. Yeah. And that does have an effect on you when maybe you have a lot of stuff in your room. So there's not so much space, but at the gym, there's space or something like that. But trying to overcome that and still perform anyways, I think a very important thing. And I completely agree with that. Yeah?
At least be aware of it. Maybe you can allow yourself to have some rituals like your coffee in the morning or whatever. It's not something that will impact you, right? But you need to be aware of this. And when you start feeling that you're getting too comfortable in what you're doing, that's maybe when you will face a plateau, right? Because getting too used of your warm-up and not changing it, or being too used of your session doing always the same thing as a ritual and stuff, is the best way to get stuck also.
100%, man. Okay, let's continue, man, because I could talk about this stuff all day, but let's continue with the activation. The last final thing, we already talked about a lot about activation. So the last final thing is, we know the positives about activation. So you can increase that overall volume for the week, and it's very specific. For you specifically, you go more intense because you're able to. You've built up to that. But are there any negatives to the activation? Are there any downsides people should be aware of when they are activating to increase the groove? Anything you can advise?
So it hurts a lot. The pain you're going to feel in your joints, in your arms, you'll be out of breath way more than when you do a training session later in the day. It's difficult. It's mental. You need to want it. That's why I'm saying, if you're more a casual athlete, do not even think of doing that. You don't need it to become what you want. It is hardcore. This sport, I think we don't say it enough. Calisthenics, high level, especially statics, is ultra hardcore. It's destroying your mind, your body, your ego. It's hard, guys. Don't expect, I'm going to do 110% as soon as I wake up, and don't feel anything in your body or in your mind. It's going to break you. It's hard. Now, if you're prepared for it, and that's the choice you decide to make in your life, go for it. Whatever it takes to become strong, right? But don't expect that it's going to be a walk in the park. If you are asking your body to do stuff that he absolutely do not want to do, your body when he wakes up, he absolutely do not want to do counterweight planche. That's the last thing your body wants to do, right? You're going to traumatize yourself, right, in order to progress. Okay, so good side, you're going to progress. Bad side, you're becoming a bit insane.
Yeah, bro, 100% agree, man. Because training in general is stress. It's applying stress to your body so that it adapts and becomes. So it is stressful. So straight in the morning, like you're saying, to add that amount of stress is hard. Not to go too much on a tangent as well, but what you said about it being hard, and if you're casual, maybe that's not the way for you to go about it. I do notice in statics, especially, there are a lot of personalities of people. I notice the personalities of a lot of the people that do statics, it is very much like they're hard on themselves. I don't know if you've noticed that, but people are very much internally like, I need to be better, I need to do this, I need to do that, which I think is, I don't know if you've seen any of that, like that kind of personality. I know a lot of people like that specifically do statics.
But I know normally, but all the top athletes of the sport, I know all of them personally. And yeah, you need to be a little... I don't want to be quirky and be like, you need to be insane to do this sport, right? It's a bit cringe. But you need to have something happen in your life that broke you a little, and you need to have this control over your life at one point, right? In general, people that do calisthenics statics are huge control freaks that needs to have control on every aspect of their life and stuff. And if you don't have it, you just don't have it. You're not going to be Mr. Olympia. You're not going to... Don't force yourself, guys. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Okay, now, if it is for you, you need to do whatever it takes, because that's what you choose. But this sport is not designed for the masses. This sport is designed for... I was saying that to my girlfriend yesterday. This sport is designed for depressed teenagers that have time to spare. And that is why this sport is designed, right? Because when you're a teenager, you're going to be lighter, your body will adapt more to what you're asking him, and basically you have spare time, you're living in your parents' place, you don't have to worry about bills, you don't have to worry about cooking or whatever. So that's why it's a perfect sport when you're a teenager living at your parents and you're a bit depressed, you're a bit going through stuff that are a bit weird and you don't understand anything. So yeah, this sport is for people that really wants it and people that have not mental issues, but been through stuff, right? You're not going to... It does not take a happy individual to do Van Gelder, right? It does not take a happy individual to do insane stuff like that, to have this little... Once again, I don't want to sound like corny and like to sound like a bit cringe, but it is. You don't become Christoph if you're a happy guy. You don't become Livan if everything is fine in your life. You don't become me if you have a perfect life with no problems, right? You need to have a character. You need to be a bit traumatized in life to do this type of stuff. Otherwise, why would you even consider hurting yourself so much, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, we'll come back to this a little bit later as well about if it's for the masses, who's calisthenics or street workout really for. But yeah, I do kind of agree. There's a reason why we're all trying to get so strong when really, if you think about it, do we need to?
Not
so yeah, so there's a reason for that. And there's certain personalities that are drawn towards the high, especially the high performance end of the sports. But we'll touch on that as well a little bit later. But to continue with some of the other questions, let's move on now to trajectory. So This is another one. So a word that is kind of thrown about a little bit. I think, probably one of the first people I heard talk about it was Valentine, maybe a few other people as well. Maybe people talked about it before that, but that's, the first one I was hearing it a couple of years ago. Do you want to give your explanation of, what it is and the importance?
Trajectory is a very not difficult topic, but important thing to understand. Planche is not a planche, right? A planche is a planche if it have certain points to check, right? So I have my little drawing right here. I don't know if we're going to
sick.
See, right? But basically, when you're going to do a planche, you want your hip to be in a certain way, in certain position, but trajectory apply mainly on dynamic motions, right? Static motion, there is not that much terms of trajectory, right? But when you're going to do a push-up, you want your hip to follow a certain trajectory. You want your feet to follow a certain trajectory. You want your shoulder to follow a certain trajectory. For example, for planche, you want your shoulder to be as close to your wrist possible in order to use the elasticity of your shoulder. And when you're going to come back, to be able to use the tricep strength to push back to planche, right? So that's part of trajectory. Trajectory can also be how you're going to act when you're going to press. Are you going to press from your feet? Are you going to press from your hips? Are you going to press from your shoulders? That's part of trajectory. In pull, for example, when you're doing a front lever pull-up, is the bar going to touch below your belly button? Is it going to touch your belly button? Is it going to touch maybe way below or way higher? That's part of trajectory. If you manage to find the sticking point of your trajectory for your limbs, because of course people have different length of limbs, of arms, of legs, etc. So every trajectory will be different, right? Now, there is stuff that are important, like for example, the thing I said about the shoulder and the wrist, that's for everyone, right? If you are in, we won't see with the hoodie maybe, but if you are too much like that in your push-up, it's going to be harder than if you're really like that, right? Because just the fact of being able to regain height after your push-up is going to allow you to press better than if you are dead in dead planche like that. You're going to be more low, and it's going to be a longer range of motion in order to come up to press. So so trajectory is a way for you to stay in a proper form or use little cheating techniques that will increase your volume. So for example, as I said, elasticity of the shoulder and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you want more details, I can do coaching for you guys. You can DM me on Instagram, and I'll analyze your body and your trajectories, guys.
Yeah, and clearly, like, Nathan has so much information. So yeah, definitely, if you're looking for more of this and you're liking this, go contact him. Go look for coaching. He's the guy to go to. So yeah, I kind of think of it as well, like, because I first heard of trajectory, or I heard of it as bar path when I was doing weights before, and in squats, because I used to do a lot of squats, they would talk about bar path. You want the bar to go straight up or straight down as you descend, and then straight up. So you want it to follow basically a straight line if you were looking from the side. I noticed there's similar things in planche in terms of
literally the same,
or front lever pull-ups, just like you said, in the presses, in the way you go up and down. You either want it to be consistent or you want to optimize it the best way for that skill. So yeah, that's how I kind of I think about it as path, like a path your body will follow, or your head follows, or your shoulder follows. So yeah,
I'll try to show on a little drawing.
This drawing thing is really sick.
I'm trying. So you see, you have your hip point. I don't know if we'll be able to see. You have your hip here, and your hip is able to do either here, either there when you're going to go down and push up, right? And you need to adapt to whatever your body is good at in order to use the most cheating possible in order to come back as strong as possible to planche and to continue your combo, right? But it's just the hip, but there is the same thing for the shoulder. There is the same thing for the feet. There is a line to keep. There is a lot of techniques to have, right?
Yeah.
Planche in general is let's not give false information to people, but to me, for my body, planche, if you're doing it perfectly and you have a good understanding of it, it should be maybe 60% technique, let's say.
Okay.
In general.
Yeah. There is a lot of in-depth, especially when you get into the dynamics or combos, so when you're doing a push-up to press and you're mixing things like that. There is a lot to think about in terms of the technique, not just the strength aspect, and the technique may help with the strength aspect. So
the beauty, and I said it also many times, the beauty of this sport is to be able to use as much strength possible in very weird positions that do not allow you to use this strength normally. So your body will adapt to what you're asking him to do, and what you're asking him to do is to use as much strength that you can in horrible position. Like for example, when you're on back lever and your goal is to come back to planche, you need to keep the false grip, which is like for your body, it's traumatizing, it's hurting so much. And same in planche, your body is not used to this kind of position, but you still need to make your body understand that you need to use all the strength that your body have in order to continue. And in order to use this strength, there is keys, there is little techniques, there is little adjustments that you can use and that are at high level mandatory to know. right? You're not becoming Levan, you're not becoming balanced, you're not becoming to lower extent me if you don't know this little trick.
Yeah, and I've witnessed it firsthand that some other people, Rado, Marcus Wong, a lot of these people have helped me a little bit with technique, and I can say that they do make a big difference. And I do also say to my students, the people I help as well, is that I say planche is not like a healthy thing.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not a healthy thing or a healthy position to be in. You're rounded, here a lot of the time. A lot of people already have this kind of, bad posture where maybe it's not even or they're more this than that. So I always say, like, it's not a balanced thing or a necessarily healthy thing. So you do need to keep that in mind because that is the thing you're saying about the stress.
To counterbalance what you say, it is not a healthy thing in terms of joints and stuff for like that. But in terms of cardiovascular health in general, it is pretty good to do very intense sports pretty often in the week. It's better to do intense and brief sports than doing long and cardio stuff, for example, in order, like the fact that your blood pressure is going to go very high, very fast for a brief period of time is going to get your blood pumping and stuff like that. It's going to be better than like doing footing, for example. I think I won't find a study right now, but I read that at one point, that it's good for cardiovascular health to do very intense sport often.
Yeah. In my opinion, it's best to just be good at both, like have a good cardiovascular system. Also, obviously, it will help with your endurance for skills and stuff, but also the short and intense as well is going to be good. But yeah, in terms of the joint health, and stuff like that, if you're, it's not for everyone. Some people are fine in terms of their joints, not saying everyone and like it's unhealthy to do or anything like that.
It's specific to everyone.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, we kind of covered the next question, which was, trajectory. Is it different for different skills? And it sounds like yes, because they're different in their movement. Do you have any general guidelines for, okay, if someone is watching this video and they think, okay, how can I improve my trajectory? Or they're looking at the video and think, okay, what am I doing wrong? Anything they should look at to try and optimize?
Ultra simple. Shocked because people don't do that anymore, or kids don't do that anymore. Because I speak a lot to, when I train at the gym, I try to help the kids that come to the gym and stuff. Not often, but when I feel generous, I do go and try to help people. But guys, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, look at people that did stuff before you and analyze, spend hours and hours on watching people that are actually strong, right? Because also you need to know what's strong and what's not. If you are not educated enough to know what is a good performance and what is a mediocre performance, you won't be able to reach a good level, right? You need to know what's strong and what's not. Once you know, or you have a good idea of what's strong and what is not, you're able to analyze the performance of the athlete that you choose to follow. And you're able to put yourself back in question, ask yourself, yeah, why is my shoulder in that position while his shoulder in that position? Yeah, why is my back so crooked while his back is perfectly rounded? And stuff like that. So I don't have massive guidelines. Keep a good line. Try to be as high as possible in planche. Try to get your breathing checked. You need to be able to breathe in planche. For trajectory, the main point in planche push-up is to keep your shoulder as close to your wrist possible, right? This is also from height. If you're not high in planche, your wrist will be far away when you're going to lower to push up. For presses, try to put your head in, and while you're putting your head in, try to put your feet in the opposite direction, stuff like that. But once again, it's going to be specific to your own journey. Maybe you're already doing the head thing and the leg thing in your press, but you are forgetting to put your hip or something like that, whatever. It is too specific for me to give a specific guideline to follow, right? I can give some tips like that, but the main thing, go on YouTube, go on Instagram, and watch strong athlete, please, guys. Not a random dude that you like because he put it funk on his edit or whatever. Go look a strong guy. And what is a strong guy? Is a guy that won hard freaking competition. You can't go wrong if you look the winner of Burning Gate. You can't go wrong if you look for the winner of ISN. You can't go wrong if you look for the winner of hard freaking competition where there is hard freaking hardcore athlete, right? I'm not saying swab because swab is mostly dynamics. So you don't have to be a ultimate level. I'm not talking about Christophe. Christophe is very good. You have a good understanding of his proportion and trajectory and stuff. But like, for example, I'm not going to name drop and stuff, but Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Your goal is static. So go watch static competitions and analyze people and see. You need to be a bit like a little scientist. You compare, you put a picture of the guy that you want to be, and you check if you're not too different in terms of biomechanic. Like if the guy is 160 and you're 2 meters, maybe go look at people that are 180, 185 that do correct stuff. If you're 180, maybe look at Calisthenics stuff. If you're 160, maybe look at my stuff, look at Levan, Elias, and stuff like that. Yeah, do this research work. And I'm very sad because people are not doing this research stuff anymore. They are expecting everything to be landed on a silver plate. And I think it's sad because it's very more valuable for you to understand something by yourself than if it's directly delivered to you. And even you can forget it. If like right now I'm giving you the best tip of your life, you will forget it in 2 minutes. You will scroll, look at another YouTube video, and you will, I don't know, think of something else. While if you spend hours of analyze on freaking YouTube to see the compilation of gymnasts or see compilation of athletes, and you manage to find this little gem of understanding, you will remember it for your life, right? I think it's quite important to do this research work. Now, of course, there is YouTube video that can help that, but that's why also I'm not doing too much tips video on my YouTube channel, because I do think that it is not going to help you in any way. What's going to help you though is to do the work of research. What's going to help you is maybe to get a coach, to work with an athlete that actually know what he's doing. That's going to help you, right? But a 10-minute YouTube video explaining you 3-4 stuff, but mostly redirecting you to a program is not going to help you. You're going to feel good when you're going to watch the video. You'll be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm watching something that will help me. And then you forget it, and then it's not helping you. The only thing that will truly help you is you actually doing the work of analyzing what people do. Damn, I want to be deep on this one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did. And we're kind of going into the next topic, to be fair. So it's actually okay. So just to unpack what you just said a little bit, I do agree about the video analysis. So, bringing it back to trajectory, checking other people's videos and seeing, okay, what are they doing differently? Something I've done recently is I'm now trying to learn dead planche push-ups. I've had a look at someone I really respect. So the Barkage or Wes, he's got really clean, he's one of the cleanest dead planche push-ups I've seen. So again, I've basically screen recorded his clips, scroll it back, slow it down, see exactly what the shoulders are doing, because he's some of the cleanest I've seen, and then try and replicate that in the bands, try and understand the movement, try and repeat it, and figure out, okay, what am I doing wrong? So that's something I do, and I like you said,
it is important.
I recommend other
important.
people do as well. Now to bring it back to some of the later things you mentioned. Some of that stuff you mentioned, in the video, is it called Save Calisthenics or Calisthenics is Dying? Something like that. Yeah, so you made a video. By the way, that was a lot of information in the trajectory part. So again, guys, go for him for coaching. If you guys want to learn more, then this is what he's giving for free. So imagine what he can do for you and like specifically your planche. But yeah, you mentioned a lot of that in the video about certain things. I still have a little bit of pushback. I can kind of see, of course, where you're getting at. But again, I want to talk about that a little bit more in terms of the sport, why you think it's dying, etc. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start off and have a few notes that you mentioned in the video. But it's basically kind of what you said. You said this sport was born on the internet, and that it's now growing on the internet. But the quality of social media and what social media is pushing is, it edits, a lot of edits, maybe not the highest quality in terms of strength performance, and people getting to higher level. And this isn't really pushing the sport. Is that kind of where you were getting at in the video at the start?
Well, there is a theory that says that internet is dying. Now, you agree with it or you don't agree with it. It's completely up to you. Now, you're forced to admit that when you watch the content on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok and stuff, it is less relevant than what it was maybe 5 years ago. There is less maybe knowledge. Maybe there is more content, so it's harder to find knowledgeable and interesting content. That's maybe more. But for example, when you look at the statistics, you can see that most of the content nowadays on Instagram, YouTube, etc., are AI generated, right? It's not real. It's not even a controversy theory, like a conspiracy theory. It is real. The content on socials are getting less and less relevant, and people are like, also it's also made in order to catch your attention and catch your watch time and stuff like that. And so it's not going to tell you a story, right? Before me, when I started calisthenics, you were watching a video about calisthenics. It was telling you something. It was telling you, yeah, my name is Viktor Kamnov. I'm from the Balkan, and I'm freaking strong, and I'm doing insane stuff, and I'm showing you what I'm doing, and I'm telling you my story, right? Same with Valentin, same with all of these people, right? Now, when you're going on, whatever athlete, like even me, even though I'm trying my best to stay relevant in what I'm doing pretty edits, putting okay songs that are not too trendy and stuff like that, I am trying, but it's hard to fight against the machine. It's very hard. But let's say you're going on another guy X, we're going to call him X. I know, invent him, right? He's not going to try to tell you a story. He's going to try to tell you a joke, right? He's going to try to tell you something that will make you react, right? Something that will make you. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be judgy too much, but I do see a loss of interest in the content of calisthenics right now. It's more like reaction of people. It's more like catchy. There is no more stories, as I said. I like the little idea that I'm saying right now, that before people were trying to tell stories and now we are trying to tell jokes. I think it's pretty relevant actually on the scene right now. When you're going to people accounts like maybe 5 years ago, it is not the same vibe than what you can see right now. And maybe it can be sad for me. Maybe I'm too nostalgic. Maybe I'm being, since I'm here since pretty long time. I'm not the oldest athlete in the sport, but it's been quite a moment I'm on the sport. I've seen the thing evolve, right? And I don't think it's evolving in the good direction, right? And I don't think it's fair that someone that is actually doing hard stuff, right? Stuff that asked him years and years of training, don't get retributed by the social media. And someone that have maybe 1 year of training will do a muscle up, will get all the credits, right? I don't know. I don't think it's fair. And maybe I'm just a hater, maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. What I think with the edits and stuff like that. So you mentioned, yeah, that maybe some of it is less relevant and the content is kind of built to catch your attention. I would agree with that. I would agree that maybe reactions and things like that, they get a lot of views, and maybe it's less quality than maybe a story of someone's actual progress that you could actually learn from and actually get stronger from. I would say that is much more valuable. But at the same time, I think the reaction content, there's still a usefulness there. There's still value there, because for me, I mean, what got me into sport was just the number one thing that when I ask everyone that comes to me for help, I ask them, okay, what got you into the sport and why do you want to do it? Obviously, there's things deeper, like they want to feel strong, they want to feel something. But one thing that caught their eye was that it looked cool. That's like the number. For me, it looked cool. And that was as simple as it was.
I agree.
So although, yeah, I 100% agree with some of the points about some of the edits and that, some of the higher athletes, they've built to a level of performance where they can do these edits and they're still strong and they know the stuff. At the same time, I think it's okay to just have fun and try and copy as well to a degree. Because I know I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok and stuff, so I don't know all the edits and stuff like that. But I think I get the sense that, maybe some kids are copying the high level athletes, even though they maybe are doing stuff they shouldn't try, or they need to focus on other things. I think that it's okay to take inspiration. Maybe I don't know what's going on exactly. I don't watch the content so much, but I know that there's a concept of stealing like an artist, where people take inspiration from, I saw something cool, let me try it. And then over time, it becomes your own thing and you make your own variation. So in your video, I think you mentioned that, calisthenics, I made a note, the sport is built on originality, performance, improvement, and creation, which I agree with. And I think part of that originality, I think it doesn't spawn out of nowhere. I think it comes from some kind of inspiration, the things you take in. I don't 100% know if what everyone is taking in, what like people that are 16, 15 are watching on TikTok and stuff. I don't know if, all these edits are, exactly the best thing, but I do know that, it's okay to just, that looks cool. Then maybe let me try it or something like that. So that's kind of where I
do agree. I do completely agree with you. You cannot be original if you did not try a lot of stuff. And if you're trying a lot of stuff, you're going to copy someone even without wanting to do so. All the books in the world have already been written. All the movies in the world have already been filmed. It's hard nowadays to be relevant in any topic, in literature, in movie, in art in general and stuff. There is so many people that have done so many things that it is very hard to have your own thing, right? To make yourself you, right? Call it as you want. Now, I do agree that, like, for example, a random example, Elias created a movement. Maybe he did not create it, but he did it the best. Let's say it's planche, archer, transition to the other arm, back. So it's like a full rotation, right? And Elias did it. Then everyone started to do it, and it's fine. I guess it's fine. But even me, I started to do it just to try it, and I tried it. I felt if like maybe it was fitting to my style or to what I like to do. I realized that it was not really something that I could implement in my style of combo and my style of training. I tried it. It's not working for me. I put it on the side. Now, I admit that I tried it. The thing is that all these people that did it and did not even respected the athlete that did it first, right? They did not tag him or they did not spread awareness on who did it first and stuff like that. I don't know. Like if I'm doing a set like that, I will tag the guy and say inspired by XYZ person. And by that, you are spreading knowledge and awareness to people. Like maybe these guys don't know this athlete and stuff like that. And it's helping everyone, right? I think there is a universe of individuality in this sport that there was not, and like a loss of respect that there was not a couple of years ago. I think it's quite sad. Let's say I'm training with a very strong athlete these days that is inspiring me a lot, named Kaloyan. He's a very strong ring athlete, right? And he's inspiring me to come back to rings. And if I do a set of him that he did before me, I will say inspired by Kaloyan. If when I was doing thumbs, planche stuff, I was writing inspired by Levan. When I was doing transitions and stuff, I was transition on fingers and stuff. I was writing inspired by Xiao Gang Hao and stuff like that. I'm paying respect to the athlete that worked before me, right? As much as you should pay respect to your ancestors, to your father, to... I'm not saying they are the father of calisthenics or whatever. It's just that if you are copying their style, if you're copying their movements and their stuff, at least pay some respect to what they're doing and don't make it your style. You can try it. You can experiment it. Of course, it's going to make you realize stuff, work on new trajectory and gain more knowledge, of course, but don't make it your style. It's already the style of someone else. And I said it in this same video that you're talking about. We do not need another Livan. We do not need another Elias. We need another you. That's you that we need, guys. We never seen anyone like you because you are unique. Make me believe that you are unique. Okay, that's what I need to see. I don't need to see the same combo over and over and over and over and over and over. I need to see your style. I need to see your technique. I need to see your body, right? What makes you yourself, right? Mm-hmm. I don't need to see a 7th, 10th, 1000th copy of Valentin combo. Okay, I do not need to see that. I don't need to see everyone doing XXX combos. It does not interest me. It is killing the interest of the sport. If everyone is doing the same, then there is no originality, there is no purpose in the sport, right? At this point, let's do bodybuilding. So we're all doing bicep curls and we're all happy with what we're doing, right? Do you feel what I'm saying?
100% do. I see, I basically, I understand what you're saying about, the originality. I think it's really important. And, going back to about the films, by the way, your explanation is really, really good. I like the way that you find metaphors very, very, very nicely with the movies. All the different movies have already been made. The different books have already been written. I kind of agree. They're all kind of variations of the same plots or the same design or the same arcs. Yeah. So completely agree with that. And I do agree in a more perfect world, more people would be doing they're posting their type of content and saying, okay, this is coming from this athlete, or this is, kind of where the inspiration is from for this particular content or piece that they're doing. I think in a perfect world, we'd be able to see, okay, that's where that came from. But I also think there's a degree in every community, not just street workout or calisthenics, of gatekeeping from the more core community that are deeply passionate about it. I would say I try not to step too deep in that camp because it can be more hostile. more protective of the sport, of the thing that people love, which is understandable. I see this in other different communities, such as fashion and things like that, where people are like, there are certain rules or certain things to gatekeep, to protect, so that whatever it stays original or true to the history of it. But also, I think that at the same time, it's not conducive or not the best way to go about things. I think in a perfect world, yeah, that you'd share like, okay, the inspiration came from this person, but I don't always think it's possible. For me, getting into calisthenics, I never wanted to be, core into that and get deep into the history. I wanted a bit of both. Is like, I want to know more. I want to know more about this thing. I want to know how to do it properly. But also, I want to do my thing, because I want to do it and do my thing. So a little bit half and half for me. So yeah, I do understand your perspective completely there. Yeah. What do you think about that?
So I'm going to give you a very good reason why we are gatekeeping, because I do agree that there is some gatekeeping and there is even a big problem with that. But is it truly a problem? Let's say we do not like to share our songs, right? We want people to develop their own music taste as a character, as a individual, right? To develop their own style in music and use them in their clips, right? We don't want people to use the song that you used for your video. That's why I'm not putting the songs that I'm using for the training on my clips. Because what happened is that you are putting a lot of, and I think it's quite unique in this sport, right? That this happened. You are putting a lot of emotions on one particular song that will going to trigger a certain response from your body that will allow you to unlock the strength to do a certain skill. Now, this song, you're going to use it 1,000 times in order to build like a relation with you are building a relation with this song, right? You're building something because this song is making you feel on an emotional level something that no other song can make you feel. And now you manage to do something unbelievable with your body, a skill, whatever, with this song as a choreography, right? And you're going when the drop drops and stuff, and you're posting it on Instagram, and you're so happy, you're so proud, and you hope that it's going to inspire people to do the same as you, to find a song that will inspire them and to bring something out, right? Or just even to show the art that you're doing on this specific song. But what happened is that everyone start to use this song to do their own stuff that are sometimes irrelevant, right? Like some people post the same song and do like pull-ups or whatever. And it makes you lose this, I don't know, it can sound dumb, and I completely see how dumb it can sound. If you're not giving your life for this sport, if you're just a casual athlete, it can sound very much dumb. But now realize that stronger athletes are giving their life, right? We are doing that on a daily basis. We're doing that 2 times a day, every day, since years and years and years and years for no reward, or you're not paid to do this sport. It's hard. So the little thing that we can have, like songs or like style or like combos, let us that at least, right? We're not getting paid to entertain you. We're not getting paid to inspire you. At least give us our music, give us our style. Let us do our stuff, and you do your own stuff. And you can inspire us. Try to inspire us, guys, right? And that's why we're gatekeeping, because we want our... It's not our. I'm saying our, but it's not our. We did not create the song. We did not create the combo. The combo already existed technically, right? If it's possible on a human body, it existed. You just pulled it out of nowhere and you made it in a shape in the real life, right? It existed somewhere, right? You just made it up. I don't know how to explain. It's a pretty good concept. Like, for me, creating a skill is pulling out of nothingness something and putting it in the material world, because it's theoretical. Like, for example, a reverse butterfly. So inverted hang to reverse cross to handstand. It is purely theoretical, right? We don't know if it's possible or not, but one day there will be this guy that will come, pull the thing out of the paper sheet and put it in real life. Will the guy invent the thing? No, it existed already, but he pulled it out of nowhere and he did it happen, right? So that's a little parenthesis. It's not back to the topic. So it's hard for athletes to keep going in this sport because it's so hard to stay relevant. It's hard to have a style. It's hard to have something, and seeing that you are inspiring people make you very freaking happy. I'm so glad that people are watching my clips. So glad that people are taking something out of what I'm doing, right? I'm not doing it for nothing. I'm doing it because some people watch it and like it, actually. So it's very cool. Now they are also taking what makes me cool, right? And take them from themselves. And it's not making them cooler. They're trying to become me instead of becoming themselves. And I think it's, like you said, in a perfect world, it would work better, but we're not in perfect world, unfortunately. But I think you can understand not the hatred, but the disappointment when you see your favorite song that you built so much interest on getting used by a beginner that is just trying to. The beginner is not the problem. Huh? He's just trying to do the sport like you're doing it. He's inspired, and for him, you're his idol, right? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope I explained myself a little.
Yeah. I completely agree. I can kind of see how from, especially if you have a big following, which I would say that you've built or are in the process of building, how it could feel like I want to have these things because that is, you know, my originality. You know, for example, if you know someone makes a YouTube video and it gets copied, and you know that style gets taken over and more people are making it, it's a bit like, oh, I came up with it. You know, like where's
Yeah,
my
totally.
applaud for that? You know, it feels a bit unfair. So yeah, 100% agree in that aspect. So yeah, I would say yeah, not all gatekeeping is bad. By the way, some things are good. It's good to gatekeep some things. It's not always like yeah black and white. Sometimes life I say is mostly grey. So it's not always bad to gatekeep things. So I kind of agree. Some things in calisthenics or street workout need to be gatekept because it's good. It's important to know. Oh, this person made this, and this is how it came about. And then when you know that, like that's the importance of it. Now I know to some degree that is always going to be important in every different community. We won't talk too much about this. We won't keep you too long as well. We'll try and just spend another 50 minutes.
I'm
Only a few
having
more
great
questions
fun
left.
right now, man.
Okay, that's good because I love these conversations. I never get to have these conversations, of course. So I love to have them. Hopefully you guys watching, you guys will see how long we keep talking. So you guys will see. But yeah, the last thing I wanted to point out on this. Let's see if I remember. Oh yeah, so it's that I feel like it's just that people are taking, like, you inspire people. I feel like I'm more the information guy. A lot of people come for me for just information or just, oh, like, how did I do things? I like to break things down into steps, and you know, this is what helped me, maybe it helps you. That's kind of what I do, and I feel like a lot of people watch my journey and, you know, either we're just inspired by my journey, but it's mostly like the information is what I like to share. I share different parts of scientific information, but I feel like for you, sorry.
Are you pointing out the moment I said people will be more tempted to listen to irrelevant athletes in order to get their knowledge from? Because
Oh
I
no.
was not talking about you at all. If
Oh no. This
okay,
is different.
okay,
No. My point was that you, like, I feel like some content creators, I guess I'd call you that because you make content and I
yes,
see it online.
yes,
So if we go to that, some people you go for them for inspiration. There's some people I go to, oh, I need some more. I just need that inspiration for today to hit my set. So I feel like some people will go for you for that, maybe for other reasons as well. But I think a big portion comes for you, and you know, it's you will become a part of them. And when they make their content or decide to put something out there, it will be a part of the. Hopefully, it's not 50% or 70% or 80% of that content they make is not all your style, but it will be a part of them because that's how putting your out there affects people. That's how I see it. And then the final thing is, about gatekeeping. For a long time, I think, like for dreadlocks, for example, people will kind of say, oh, only these certain people can wear dreadlocks. If you're not this sort of person, you can't do this. I disagree with that because for me, in a perfect world, again, we're getting all a bit spiritual here and talking but I kind of think that in a perfect world, we should all be able to do whatever. If you want to wear like a traditional Korean dress and you like it, I think that's really cool because you know, obviously, again, keep it true to wherever it came from, be respectful and stuff like that. But I think in a perfect world, we all share the different cultures, we all share music, we all share food, we all share different things, and we all embrace it, and you know, it's all cool.
I feel you. Yeah.
For me, that's the perfect world. I'll leave it there. Anything to finish off there?
No, just respect the athlete that were before you, that experimented before you, and that suffered before you. Pay respect, even though it's people that you never met, even though it's. Why would you respect these guys because you don't know them? I can understand, yeah, you don't owe respect to anyone, but yeah, I don't know, see my point of view, respect a little the guys before you that did the sport before you. Like, for example, before Caruso, so front lever to Victorian Cross, nobody did it. right? Nobody did it. It was not existing, right? It was nothing. Now someone did it, and now everyone doing it. So we are not just doing stuff for ourselves. We are opening the gates of what is possible and what is not possible, right? If there was not athletes like, I don't want to say like me, because I don't have the pretension of saying that I'm doing anything relevant in the sport, but like, for example, Ilyes or Livan or whoever, I'm always saying these two athletes. I'm going to say other people like Onizuka, like Caruso, like Mayeli, like Dailong, like Xiao Gangpao, like Frandos, like Melvin, like these people. If these people were not here to push the limits of what was possible, this sport would be two straddle planches to press, right? Because in your mind, if something is not possible, then it won't happen, right? Before these people did what they were doing, there was nothing, right? So that's why you should respect also these people, because they are making this sport grow in a way that you cannot even fathom and comprehend. They are inventing literally the sport, right? They are inventing elements, they're inventing movements that were not even on our realm of existing, right? They're bringing stuff to the sport and make it exist. Before Caruso, there was no Caruso, right? And now that there is Caruso, more people do it. Mayeli did it, Mani did it, Onizuka did it, etc., etc. More people do it and stuff. So it's not only for us. I'm going to repeat myself, but I hope you understand my point. It's not only for fame and for stuff like that. There are people that are pushing the sport in order to create stuff and make other people understand that it is possible. Before anyone did 20 push-up to press, nobody was doing 20 push-up to press because they thought it was impossible. Now one person did it, two person will do it, 3%, 10% and stuff. And now it's possible. And there is new basis of volume that you need to have in order to be relevant in the sport. And people understand more and more that insane stuff are being able to be done. And maybe in 5 years, new stuff will be invented and new bases of volume will be created. And that's right.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. Again, guys, watch the video if you haven't. It's on Nathan's channel. I think it's Save Calisthenics. Yeah, I would agree. Like I said, some things are it's good to gatekeep. Other things, I think there's a bit of 50-50 there. It's not just black and white. It's great. But yeah, that's a good reason for, why it's good to keep the originality or to kind of know where things come from. Because yeah, you do need those limit breakers to help keep the sport going. I see it in, even in football, there's skills in football named after people because they were the first to do it. But,
Totally.
pull it out of the hat, like you say, they were the first to kind of bring that into fruition, score a goal from it. It becomes their thing. They create history from it. And then okay, that's where that came from. Maybe you do it as a kid and that inspires you. But okay, man, six. I love that. I love that portion of.
That's very cool, yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that makes you guys think a little bit. And if you do get inspired by someone, and I guess you make an edit or something, try and give the credit where the credit is due. I think that's fair enough.
I don't know if you say that in English, but in French we say "give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar" or something like that.
No, we don't say. Oh, that's a pretty cool saying.
Like it's from the Bible or whatever. Like how to say, the Romans were paying an impo, like a tax on people, and Jesus say, give what belongs to them. Whatever it means, basically, give credit to who needs to have the credit.
Yeah.
I thought it was something you say in English. Whatever.
Yeah, we say give credit where the credit is due. Is what we do, which is the same thing. And I think that is important. Say, like I said, in a perfect world, you would do that for everything to know where the inspiration is truly
from. But once again, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know about a perfect world. Like you're not going to take samples of Kanye West or take samples of freaking Rihanna without getting claimed by their sponsors and stuff. Why would you do it in less known stuff? It's the same point, right? You're not like, for example, I wanted to say that since we're talking about it since 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but I don't know if it's really relevant. But for example, in breakdance, I'm sure there is breakdancers that have their signature moves. And if the guy in front of them is going to do the exact signature move or use this exact signature move from the other guy in another competition, people are going to be like, whoa, what are you doing? It's not, what are you doing? You see what I mean? I see that happen in breakdance. I'm sure it happened. Like this dude have this specific move that he's mastering and stuff, and some other dude did it like maybe less good and stuff. He got called out for doing that, and it's about the same.
Yeah.
Or if it's to pay respect and like show whatever, it can be cool, but it needs to be specified. Like it's to pay respect.
Yeah, I definitely think there's an amount of class and yeah, the respect, yeah, is the word when you can do, especially when it comes to things that is some when someone spent years on something, there's definitely a certain amount of respect if you're copying it and posting it online, sharing
Minimum.
it. 100%. I fully agree with that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll leave that there. Hopefully, yeah, that makes the people think a little bit at least about those kinds of skills
Hope
and
so.
that kind of thing. Okay, man. We'll move on to the final quick questions, and then we'll finish off there because I don't want to take up too much of your day.
Welcome.
Okay. So, I'll start off with my first quick question. So you can just spend like, 20, 30 seconds answering these. They're just quick questions that the people have asked, but I'll start off with my one. So what is one thing that really changed the game for you in your training or just in life in general, if it's just your perspective on life? Because you have a pretty unique perspective on life, I think, in my opinion. Is there any one thing or one event that happened that really changed, okay, this thing really helped me level up?
Yeah. So not to be too personal, but moving to Bulgaria and finding myself alone there for a long period of time made me realize that either I take calisthenics seriously, either I just come back to France and find a 8 to 7 job, 8 to 5 job, and my life like that, and continue being random. So I had to make a choice. Either you go 100,000% in, either you what's the saying in English? Go full or go home.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that. I was in this situation. Either I tried to make a living out of it, or I tried to get good at it for real. Either I go home, and that was the trigger point. I think that was the important point. Bulgaria moment.
Yeah. Okay, so being thrown in the deep end, you had to go all in. Okay,
Yeah.
nice, man. Okay, some other people have asked, okay, have you ever wanted to quit? And I'm assuming they mean a street workout or calisthenics or just, being an athlete, things like that.
I like to say that I want to quit to give me a little style, like yeah, I'm doing that, but I don't really want to and stuff. But actually, I quitted for 4 months 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and that's where I had to realize either you continue, either you stop. And I decided to continue. So until I achieve very specific goals, I do not allow myself to quit. But very often, I'm like, why aren't you doing stuff that are easy for you? Like it's very easy for me to stack muscle, to get muscular. It's very easy for me. I could move to powerlifting. I could move to street lifting. I would be ultra strong, and I know it. It's not even like ego that is speaking. It is facts. Like I'm not training bench. I'm 59 kg. I can bench 125 kg for my weight and my height. It is a lot, and I know that if I was working on it, I would be good at it. But for now, I have two specific goals, and I have stuff to accomplish in this sport for now. So I do not allow myself to quit. But yeah, more than once I had this thought in my mind.
Okay. And okay, another question. Oh, how do top athletes structure their training? Any thoughts on that?
I could give you a structure that will work well. Now, warm up, very specific, spend the least amount of time doing low specificity stuff. Do tries of things that you visualize. Let's say you want to do a combo that you're thinking of. You're going to give yourself 4 or 5 tries. Beginning of session, then you'll have your core of your session. So either combos that will ask you a lot of stamina and energy, or either you can work on intensity modification training methods like EMOM, like drop set, like rest pose, like other stuff like that, and finish your training with more specific reinforcement. So maybe elastic band and stuff like that. So I'm not going to enter too much details. If you want more details, you can come in DMs and I'll help you as best. That's it.
Yeah, you guys know where to go. Check the description down below. There's a link to his Instagram. Follow him, send him a message, man. Okay. Any tips for Iron Cross? Again, this is another one for maybe it's for the coaching. So yeah, just
No, I can give you a little tips for iron cross. Try to find a balance
cool.
between your muscles. So iron cross is a less difficult skill than planche because there is no lever or leverage, or at least less than like the leverage will go from here to here. That's the only lever pointed from your shoulder to your hand. In planche, it's from your shoulder to your feet, right? You need to stay parallel from the floor. The only thing that needs to be perpendicular to the floor in cross is your arm to chest ratio, right? So it's less difficult than planche, but it is still very specific. I think that you should find a balance between the front and the back of your body. you should keep a good balance from your chest, lats, shoulder, back of shoulder, bicep, tricep, forearm muscles, etc. You should not be too forward, too backward in cross. Work really on your balance or on your muscle balance. When you're doing tries, try to record yourself from up and see if you're too much on your shoulder, too much on your tricep, etc., etc. Find a balance in cross. It's quite important to not injure yourself and to keep it good.
Good, man. Good tips. Good tips. Someone asked, do you train every day? I think you kind of answered that. I guess it depends, but
it's going to depend. Like these days, it's cold. It's harder for my body to grease the groove a lot. It's asking my body more energy than when it's summer. In summer, your body is already warm, kind of, right? So you can planche. Well, at my level, you can planche kind of when you want. But since it's colder now, I'm training a little less. And of course, I'm not having the same goals this summer. I wanted to have a big volume of planche and front lever. Now my goal is more power moves, so less volume, more intensity. So I cannot really allow myself to train every day on power move like floor carmona and stuff like that, since it's asking me so much intensity. If I could train every day, I would do it. But in the current situation, since I don't have competition to prepare, etc., I don't have to put that much stress on my body. Right now, no, I'm not training every day.
And last one, and then I'll just ask something a bit more less training focused. But the last one that someone asked, how do you get your first Maltese? So what's the best way to start training Maltese if you're just starting?
There is multiple ways to aim for Maltese. So either you go more classic way, so you go from planche, then you work on your supinated planche, and then you try slowly every session, try to get wider, plus elastic band, or either you just do tries directly and you have a chance of it to float, and sometimes it won't. Depends. Me, I had the chance of, I did not went from the wider. I directly went for airplane and it floated a little. And from then I did little with elastic band, it floated a little more, and then I continue like that. But yeah, for more beginner people, I would advise them to work on their big volume of planche, normal. Well, actually, Maltese is a very specific skill, and there is not that much transfer from planche to Maltese. Now, it's quite difficult because since it's a very specific skill, the only thing that will trigger growth in this sport will be, in this position, will be to work it specifically. Now, I don't want to tell people, get a big base volume in planche. Maybe it will mislead them into thinking that you need to have a good planche to have a Maltese. You can have a very crappy planche and a very good Maltese. It's not the same motion. Now, to play it safe, I would recommend you to have a good supinated planche before entering a good Maltese. It's maybe safer for you. Now, if you feel like you're able to do directly a Maltese with elastic band and feel it, you can also do it. It's case by case. There is no one general truth.
Yeah, some people I know that they're naturally good at going wider, but maybe not so much in the planche position. So I think it's kind of genetic and the joints, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, man. We'll finish up the last questions. Yeah. I know it's, I guess, do you feel, I don't know, I see stuff online, seems like you're kind of stylish, or you'll have your own style, you have your kind of own philosophies. You think a lot about originality. Yeah, do you have any thoughts on that, or do you know why that is? You feel like you think about these things a lot, or it's just who you are?
Well, first of all, are you hearing me correctly? Because my headphone died.
Yeah, I'm still hearing you somehow, but yes.
Wonderful. So, nice question. I tend to force myself to think as much as I can, right? It is important to think a lot in order to come to conclusions, right? You don't come to a life conclusion or a interesting thought by just having a 2-sentence reflection, right? You need to think a lot. And it's the same for the sport. At one point, it's going to be important to think about what you're doing deeply in order to grow from it, right? To understand, really have a deep level of understanding of what you're doing in order to make it progress, right? It's the same in life, and I try to stay aware of bias that people have in their minds. I try to stay aware of what's going on in the world politically. It's not relevant to a sport extent, right? You don't have to be a political genius or whatever to be strong in sport. But I do think that every strong athlete I encountered are smart, right? It's hard to be very don't want to say dumb, but maybe it's just an easy correlation. It's not relevant, but all the strongest athletes I've met are pretty smart. I'm not saying I'm smart, right? There is always someone smarter than you and stuff. But I'm trying to do the effort of reading quite often, to work on my clothes style, to work on my appearance, to work on my style, on the sport and stuff. And yeah, by trying, at one point something happened. But sometimes when you try a lot, nothing happened also. So I'm glad that you noticed that I'm working on this type of stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, I think it comes a lot along in your content quite well. Okay. Yeah. Hopefully you can still hear me. But yeah, I think it comes along in your content. Yeah, that you think deeply about things. I don't know. I also tend to do that. Again, maybe it's a similarity or something like that. Again, but like with you said about high level athletes, I think it's hard to luck into a crazy amount of strength or a good amount of performance. I think it's hard, even with talent, even with the genetics. I think it's hard to just luck into it. I think you do need to think a little bit about the training and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely in your content, yeah, I think it comes across well. I think keep it up in terms of the originality. I see what you're trying to do, and like you said, it is hard to fight against the machine. I would like to talk more about just being trying to make a living off calisthenics, because obviously that is what I'm trying to do as well. It's not easy because, you do want to do things. Some things don't work. You're forced to do things in a certain way. So yeah, all of that causes
If
a
I
lot of
can
thinking.
add one last
yeah,
thing,
go for it,
I
man.
wanted to thank my sponsor Tenex, because it's because of sponsors like that, or like I guess for you it will be Carnation. I wanted to thank all the brands, all the sponsors that are helping us to continue our journey of calisthenics. Without you, I would be in a much, much, much more darker place. You are helping athletes like me continue what they're doing. You are making the sport grow, guys. Thank you for the trust you are allowing us, and I hope we are going to continue together. I'm talking of all the brands in general. Specific thanks to my sponsor, Tenex. Thank you a lot.
Problem, man. Likewise, yeah, I think the brands are really, really important, obviously, for what we're trying to do and just allowing us to do our thing. But okay, man, we will leave it there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. Again, we'll be doing more. Again, thank Nathan down in the comments, sending messages. Think about the things we said, and yeah, we'll leave it there. You want to say, say anything?
To finish, thank you a lot for listening to this interview podcast. Yeah, interview more. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. 1 hour and 36 minutes of talking. I hope I did not say too many wrong stuff or too much bullshit. Take care of you guys. Thank you so much for having me, man. It was a pleasure to speak with you, and maybe we'll have a collaboration. You're living in the UK?
Yeah, I'm in the UK.
Maybe I'll come one day and we'll do something in real life. Why not?
Yes, 100%. Or I'll go to Bulgaria, because Radislav is also he's saying he'll come here. So either one, I'll go there. You come here, whatever. We'll make it happen. Also, yeah, I want to say thank you for just doing this talk as well in English, because obviously, I mean, you speak French as well. I always feel sort of like I'm making the person speak in a certain language.
I speak in English more often than French since a long time now. My girlfriend is English from London. I only speak English in life.
Okay, I didn't know she was from London. Okay, cool.
So that's that.
All right, man. We'll leave it there. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you for the time. And guys, yeah, we'll see you guys soon. All right.